Today we're here with Larry Nootenboom, who is celebrating 40 years of employment with AWSS Select Sires as of January 14th. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about how you even got into this business.
Well, it goes back as a kid, believe it or not. I was raised on a dairy, in the dairy industry. My dad worked for a couple large dairymen in California. And then in the late 60s, the dairies were being pushed out of Artesia, going down south. And he said he wasn't going to go with the dairy he was with. So a family member lived up here and was coming up here to visit family. And so he mentioned to him to look for work. And I was 12 years old. I had one older brother, and then my younger brother was 2 years old at the time. And so anyway, we ended up in Coopville, Sherman Dairy there. They had just bought a small dairy. They had been in the turkey business their whole life and knew that was going by the wayside. So they needed to do something different. So they bought a small dairy, didn't know anything about milking cows. They had it for about a year. My mom and dad came up a couple times to see about it, and by God, they moved up here. And I would never have done it. That's a big challenge and a chance. But my dad wanted so bad to have something that he was in charge of. So we took it, and 3 years later, Sherman's built a state-of-the-art double 8 herringbone, and they grew and bought registered cattle. And my dad was in charge of all that. So yeah, it was a great move. And so I had the opportunity to be raised on the dairy. And I remember in my teen years, when I used to help milk there and stuff, we had 2 people milking in the parlor, and we would take a 10-minute coffee break. And I would go into the office and just devour the AWSS Breeders' Bull Book. Didn't know why, but I did. And so anyway, so then I stayed on the dairy until I graduated, came up here to Mount Vernon to go to college for 2 years. My goal was to become a veterinarian. And of course the folks didn't have a whole lot of money, and they didn't believe in a lot of loans. And so that's the path I took. I came up here and went to college, worked back on the dairy. After 2 years, went back to the dairy, thinking I could make enough money to go over to Washington State University. Well, that didn't work out. So I got myself a different job because I wanted to get away from the cows. So I worked in a fast food restaurant. And like 4 months into it, the manager asked me if I wanted to go into pre-management training. Well, I knew that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to flip fish my whole life. So I thought it's time to start thinking about what I really wanted, and that's when I started thinking about what I enjoyed as a kid. So I came here to AWSS and applied, and because I knew I loved genetics as a kid, and 40 years later, here I am.
So what did you start out doing when you got here first?
I was technician. Here in Skagit County. Archie Nelson hired me. And they needed a tech because one of the techs was going to move on and become a dairyman. And so I had half the county. And then a year into it, or a few months into it, I guess, maybe 6 months into it, our other technician passed away. And so Archie asked me if I wanted to take on the whole county. And of course, I was 21 and young, and I said absolutely. So yeah, so I did that for a couple of years. Yeah.
And at that time, did you breed twice a day?
Bred twice a day. Didn't make sense, but it's what we did back then. And there was times that I would end up at a dairy at about 11 o'clock and go back at 2 to breed the afternoon cows. We've learned a lot, haven't we?
We have learned a lot. Yeah.
So, but
all that experience kind of helped you to get to where you are today as a salesman, yeah?
Absolutely, yeah. It's a great feeling to know that when you go out there and you've had the experience of breeding the cows, you can actually talk the talk and know their frustrations, of the things. And so yeah, that's definitely helped me. Yeah, I really am happy with that. Yeah.
Yeah. So in 40 years, there's got to be a few highlights of your career. Yes?
Yeah, I guess
Anything
so.
you can share?
Well, yeah, actually, wow. I guess the way I really got to put it is there's been a lot of experiences here in the company for 40 years, and it's such a pleasure to work for this company. And I guess to answer your question would be just 40 years of seeing it evolve and it change. I remember when I first came in, of course we were breeding with straws at the time, but the ampules had just gone out, so we were still using up some of those. And to take it from there, ET work was a big thing when that came in embryo transfer. I remember Carnation Farms down here had 40 some offspring out of the same cow, all in this photo, and thinking, wow, where would this go from here?
Mm-hmm.
And of course that's old hat now, not a big thing. So yeah, so I guess it's just the whole industry to see it all change from where it was and what we're doing now is absolutely amazing. Yeah. So I guess that's what it is.
Has your role as a salesman changed?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, the role of salesman has changed drastically because of the technology that we've had to learn and the changes that have taken place. But one thing about the role hasn't changed, and that would be that people still buy from people, and that's huge.
Mm-hmm.
Dick Chichester mentioned that in his parting meeting that we had, sales conference, national sales conference several years ago, and he had said that we are entering a period that there's so much technology out there that he called it information overload. And he couldn't have been more right, because that's exactly where it went. But he also said at that time, just never forget, people buy from people. And it really simplifies things. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I know because you've been here such a long time and you've also worked with a lot of people that have been here as long, sometimes longer than you, you know that the importance of the All West family.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk a little bit about that, and then also how exciting is it to see new members come into that family?
Yeah, the thing is that you're talking about family, and it really is. I've worked for 3 managers now, Archie and Harold, and now Jim, and that has never changed. And I think that's fantastic. I really do. The continuity we have as employees with a common goal is huge. And with the board that we have been blessed with in the past, both at Flex Sires and at All West, has been huge. It's wonderful. I don't know what to say, but yeah, I mean it's huge.
Makes going to work a lot easier.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. And to know that, we do work for the best organization, the AI organization out there, and to see where it came from and where it's going to is exciting. And for the new people coming on, it's exciting to see them. I like to try to help or mentor who I can. Not that I got all the answers, but the things that have worked, you want to share that with them. I think it's important for new people to understand when they come on that for the majority of your customers out there, beef and dairy both, you may be the only person that they see. And so I think it's always important for us out in the field to represent the company the way we should, with professionalism, always, and the will to want to help. Because to them, we are Select Sires. And like I said, one thing is just keep in mind that people buy from people. And if you're there to want to help them and understand what their needs are, and they start to rely on you. And one big thing for me in the past is when a dairyman tells me, you know what I need and you know what I want, just make sure I don't run out. That's huge.
That's huge.
That's a big compliment.
Yeah.
Because I'll guarantee you, there's not a lot of other people in the industry from other organizations that call on my customers and that they allow that with them. So that's the ultimate compliment, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So,
Have there been some people along the way that have helped you get to where you're at?
everybody. Teamwork, that's what it's all about. Yeah,
That's awesome.
everybody.
So here's to 40 more years.
I'll guarantee I won't be here in 40 years, but I don't plan to be out of here anytime in the next 40 days either. So
That's a good thing to know.
that's all I can say. Great company, totally enjoyed working for them, really
Awesome.
do.